Okay. First thing first, let me introduce yourself for the audience. What is your name?
My name is Cindy Zhang.
Okay, Cindy, I know you from two sides. I know you as a model. You a few years ago, we did a couple of shows at Skyroom and at Brick, and I also know that you do some marketing and like a more like a corporate stuff. Can you talk about your career?
Okay, so last year I just graduated from my graduate school, and NYT.
Okay.
And my major was MBA. And after I graduated, I tried to find a company to sponsor me because I'm in my student visa right now. So I worked in a law office for like 4 months, but after that the business kind of broken, so I have to find another company to sponsor me, which I found my current company. And my current company called YYS Tech Inc. We basically specified for international students, and before that the company know a lot of business, so we found the business owner and find the position they are hiring, and we give the international students the opportunity to find the job they want to, instead of like just going to like million interviews.
There are so many local students who wants the job, and it's not easy. I can't believe how difficult it is to be an international student finding the job. What is the advantage of hiring international student? Do you get to pay them a lot less, or do you get a lot more talented people? Why people hire outside? Is that jobs that no one else wants, or it's very complex, difficult to do jobs, require a lot of skills? What's the market about international students?
I think after I don't really want to talk about policy, but after Donald Trump be the president, it's even harder for international students to get job because firstly, like for example, Chinese people are not, like, if you're not living there for a long time and getting to the circle in English people, you're probably not very fluent in English, firstly. And also there's some culture shock, which the company probably think you're not gonna fit into the company culture. Thirdly, I think the company don't want to hire international students is because that they need to go through a lot of application and processing to hire those people, and it's gonna look bad to white people that they don't hire white people because hiring international foreigners is cheaper. That's a general situation.
Let's say in your case, you're a model and you're very, very pretty. Do you think being so pretty helps you to get a job? Let's say I know a lot of international students who also have a good, good body, good facial bone structure, and that also another something that companies really want to, if they have someone in front of as a face of the company who speaks all the time on camera, or they need to take a picture, or they the first person they see when they enter the office, like a secretary or receptionist, or if you have someone who is like a model who is amazingly good looking, it helps the company to kind of stand out and instead of hiring model every time they do a shoot or a production, they can have that person. So sometimes unique looking folks who are not looking like everybody else have distinct features helps the companies. Do you think that helps being a model and having career?
You
still need to have knowledge and experience.
Yeah. In my opinion, it does help to get through the interview if the position you're looking for is the thing you said, like a receptionist or a promoter, something like that. But if
they hiring, let's say, a lawyer, or a doctor, or like engineer. They want someone who can pitch, who can do a sales pitch, and who can do marketing. And good looks, when the person is presentable and looks interesting on the set before even person open their mouth. People have their perception what the person looks like, and maybe how that's the whole company looks like.
Yeah, but those like positions are very limited. As you said, like all those positions you mentioned before is actually requires you have the communication or face-to-face talk to your clients and stuff. But if the position only requires the skills, they will only hire the people have a better ability, not the yeah.
I'm saying everything having equal. Let's say you have a skill level same as me, so we have exact same level of expertise in the whatever we pass the test. But you're very good looking, and I'm middle-aged dude. So when the company choose to hire, they might choose someone interestingly good looking rather than just if everything else equal. I'm understanding we're not talking about like hiring someone who doesn't have a skill. I'm just saying that. As additional help point that might help, because a lot of people they think, oh, I shouldn't do modeling, I shouldn't be in the fashion because I want to be a serious guy, I'm going to be a doctor, I'm going to be a lawyer. No, it's also helps. As far as international business, do you think billion Chinese folks like the language ability, even with the artificial intelligence, and nowadays I can speak pretty much any language I want on YouTube, but having ability to speak Mandarin and Cantonese are really helpful in today's world's economy when so many products made in China.
Yeah, I think it does help that when you're bilingual and you can talk to more people, and you can not only limit working for American company, you can also work for a Chinese company, and you can make the connection both from like two nations. So I think it do help you if you speak another language.
Remind them what's your Instagram, how they can find you if they want to hire you as a model.
My Instagram is Cindy CCCINDIIII.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, may I ask what is your name?
Pierre Voltaire.
Pierre, you have a wonderful escort. You certainly look really cool. Can you talk a little bit? What do you do?
So for Fashion Week Brooklyn, I'm the marketing director and have been for the past 4 years. And by profession, I'm a designer. And the last company that I worked with, currently I work with different clients, but the last company that I worked with on a full-time basis was Calvin Klein. I was the design director for their men's outerwear, and that pretty much was...
What's fun is the working with Rick. Do you enjoy his company?
So it has nothing to do with his company. It's a question of him providing a platform for young up-and-coming designers who would not otherwise not have the opportunity to get the exposure. And so that has been something that has caused me to really gravitate towards Fashion Week Brooklyn, and to be one to want to make it easier for young up-and-coming designers.
Can you talk a little bit about the sustainable fashion, why we're here at the Hudson Yards today?
So sustainable fashion is a very delicate, interesting, and controversial.
Controversial?
Well, controversial from the perspective that, we and the fashion industry, we're one of the biggest polluters of the environment because of the fact that we create fast fashion. We create fashion where based on this.
It builds jobs. It creates jobs. It creates a movement. I seen a few big companies when they, instead of giving the clothes away for free or selling it cheaper, they just burn everything rather than lower the price. They want to keep the brand afloat with the high margins, high price, even if they don't sell it.
Yeah, so if you burn the clothes, it's almost like a wash from the perspective that if you burn the clothes, you're polluting the environment, and so I really don't see the point of doing that. I mean, perhaps.
Their concern is if they will give it away for free, the cost, if this jeans costs $1,000, $2,000, and they sell it for $20, they never be able to bring back the price. So they have to burn and destroy those jeans before they go to the market, before they to keep the price up. Otherwise, they kill the brand. That's I don't know if it's a fair judgment, but that's what their argument is.
Yeah, I mean, I get that because you see, there's a difference between designing a group, designing a line, and benefiting from it, and then there's the part that you're designing a line and what environmental impact that it will have. So part of the problem is that from a sustainability standpoint, sometimes we get all caught up in thinking that it's only about what kind of material you use, so on and so forth. But sustainability is such a wide topic that it pertains to everything where, what technology you're using so that it will not affect human labor. It goes to speaking about what technology you're using so that you can make clothing more proficiently, right? And it speaks to the humanitarian aspect, where it's like, well, you should pay people a fair price for their labor. And that's a component and a part of sustainability that a lot of people don't talk about, but that makes something sustainable.
Folks go online and they go on Amazon. They don't buy the ones that have donations or pay fair labor. They buy the one who sells the cheapest price possible. And to achieve that lowest price point, people have to cut corners. Sometimes they hire kids. Sometimes they don't pay people. Donald Trump done it probably many times when he didn't pay folks, and he sustained. I don't think he sold cheap. He always try to sell upscale, but a lot of companies, in order to sustain the really low price point and sell in bulk, they look for the ways to save, and saving is usually goes with the ability to low cost labor, whether it's overseas or it's not paying overtime or whatever they try to do to minimize the expense.
Yeah, so the thing is this: it's like there are ways to cut the cost of waste, and there. Not,
The people will feel, oh, he's like a kind of lower the price. He didn't pay the people the proper price, like what happened to Nike, remember? And the brand suffered, and a lot of younger generation folks went away from Nike to smaller brand. Even Nike has amazing product because they have been caught so many times using child labors and profiting from those techniques.
well, I think that with some of those arguments, there's no real way to avoid them, simply because, when you speak of like the third world and other countries within the third world, you have a lot of child labor, right? So there are a lot of kids who are working on construction of new garments. But I think that what's important is that all of us from this side take a quick look at what's coming out and have an understanding of where all this product is coming from. In other words, what's the DNA? If you have a shirt, what's the DNA? And
Do you mean that it's like you're choosing a lesser evil? Let's say if either you have a choice that this child will die of starvation and have no food whatsoever, or you hire that child and give them a job. Yes, it's not a good idea to have kids 5, 7, 10 years old working in that many hours. But on the other hand, if you will not give them a job, they might just simply die because of starvation. So it's like a very difficult choice. It's not like they have ability just to feed all those kids.
Well, there is that, and there's at the end of the day, there's really no right answer to it, right? I think that from the perspective of sustainability, what you have is you do have a lot of conscious consumers, and because that you do have that, and a lot of the standard manufacturers are not privy to how best to handle it. What ends up happening is that they're like, well, you really don't represent my demographic, so why should I listen to you?
Ladies and gentlemen, you heard the argument. Let's see. Do you have like Instagram? But do you have like a like social media by any chance?
Yeah. So
What is it?
I'm at HarlemPublicArtsProject.com, and on Instagram I am at Prosper151 P Richards. So definitely follow me and follow Fashion Week Brooklyn, because I believe that what we represent newness, contemporary perspectives, and we think that it's very important to save the planet. We all got to jump on this bandwagon.
Thank you. Listen up. I think Pierre has a point. May I ask? Yes, it is, and I'm getting extra late. May I ask, what is your name?
Catherine Schuler from Runway the Real Way.
Catherine, you mentioned during the question and answer section that you do some events. Can you talk about it?
Yes, I started on a company last year called High Tech Moda, and High Tech Moda is fashion and technology. I teach at the Fashion Institute of Technology, but I teach plus sizes and kind of the outlying sizes of petites, big and tall, and plus. But I got bit by the sustainable bug a few years ago when I joined the Fair Trade Coalition. So I just realized that the fashion industry is the number 2 most toxic industry, and I wanted to do something about it. So I have a voice. I'm an influencer, and I decided to.
How big is your following?
I don't know, because
Substantially, do you have like famous people follow you?
Yeah, and they're Vogue follows me, and some of the other influencers who are coming up in the ranks. They call me the Fashion Fairy Godmother. So,
how did you get them to follow you? What did you do?
Well, I just was in the business since polyester and Omar were the only designers. So I was one of the first plus size models in the 80s. And I think, being that kind of gatecrasher and that kind of innovator gives you the kind of, and I'm older, and I represent the generation that was radical and fought the Vietnam War and isn't afraid to speak out, and I don't take a back seat. And obviously I broke through the prejudices of the fashion industry by telling everyone, look, the plus size woman is fashionable. She does deserve great clothes. There are 67 million women in the country, so let's do something about it. So slowly the industry started changing because the money was on the table.
As far as getting back to sustainability, like one of the things that I noticed nowadays, people no longer give their business cards, but they take a picture of their Instagram or Facebook on the phone and save paper, and it's much. You can put so many pictures in your phone rather than so many business cards in your pocket. And the other thing that I noticed during the Women History Months, a lot of awards no longer done on paper. In the past, people get awards like in a plaid and they put it in a wall, and very few people watch it. Nowadays, it's all electronic. So, like when the award goes from my phone to your phone, and it goes instantaneously on the Instagram and Facebook, has all the links. So it's all that millions of people can see it instead of like few that visit actually your office. So there are a lot of sustainability nowadays in the fashion events that coming. Do you think the artificial intelligence may be a moving force that can move the fashion towards the sustainability?
Absolutely, and I'm actually developing an app that you can buy the clothes right off the runway, so that there's no more lag. There's zero waste. The clothes can be custom made and sent to you, or they can have inventory and they know and they make the clothes up after you order them.
Recently, I have serviced one of the events of now my friends, but at that time I didn't know them. It was a couple, and they're in their 60s, 70s, and the guy was working for like many years, like 40 years, as the bus driver, and his wife was a teacher, and they saved and they purchased many properties, and they not poor by the retirement, and he had a chance a dream when he was younger to do fashion, to do a runway, and to do like music. And now that he's 65 and he retired, all of a sudden he launched the fashion line for seniors. And I realized that this Tony King, and I was surprised. So many, the house was full. So all these people who came kind of pay the tickets. No, just thank you. All the folks kind of came to like buy the tickets, and they purchased the T-shirts, and they purchased the CDs and even cassettes. So it was very loyal customers, because I was surprised for his fashion line. The average was like 80, maybe 90 years old. I saw people over 100 came to buy clothes, and they had tremendous budgets. The young kids, like 20-year-old, if you tell them a little bit of money, they have no money. But the seniors, they do have money.
They also are becoming a lot more woke because they realize that, my parents did it with a lot less. And, I have 8 closets, and my mother was like, you don't wear half of this stuff. And I was like, she's right. And it wasn't because she's so sustainable. It's just like you have what you love and love what you have. So I've really, I've gotten more and more accustomed to, shopping with a conscience. And I created an event called Runway the Real Way. And it's all ages, sizes, shapes, genders, heights, ethnicities, persuasions, nationalities, binaries. It's the fashion diversity on the inclusive catwalk. And ages, I always have 2 or 3 style boomers, I call them, and they're in their 60s, and they rock it. And they're young enough, and they're hip enough, and the audience sees them and really resonates with them.
I've seen a few, like every fashion week is different, but this fashion week I seen the shows in the pool, swimming models in the water. I seen a variety of shows. One show really struck my attention was the show when they had the whole team as the, I would say, parents, grandparents, parents, and the kids. So they wear something that was cohesive throughout generations. So it was it's like usually you would see kids dressed like American Girl, then the parents like Macy's, the grandparents like Nordstrom, and there was like a one family. You can tell that this is sister and sister, this is husband and wife, the hairstyle, the look, the makeup throughout generations according to the age, but it's you can see that this is a family. So when they did those Christmas pictures, it was really cool.
What's the name of them?
It's escaped my mind at the moment. But have you seen any? Like, do you think that this is a future to do family collections?
I'm thinking about it because when you do something like that and you put it on the runway, it yeah, I know. I was going to say, I would hope we still had enough light. That you actually send a message, and people get it. They'll start to see that the kids and you know what. I would not stop at just the family. I would put the dogs and the pets and everything on there. Good.
But it was very difficult to see. Young kids usually shy to be on stage, and when they come with their hands, with their parents, they kind of get used to be on a runway versus like trying it on their own when so many strangers watch.
On the runway, and the runway should be authentic and it should be inclusive.
It's a very wealthy family, so it's very expensive to do shoes and clothes and hats. Like it's basically a collection for the whole family. It's not like a. Okay, ladies and gentlemen.
Right here. You're gonna see it on my runway, from his mouth to my runway.
What is your social media? What is your Instagram?
It's Schuler Cat, because I'm Catherine Schuler, and it's Runway the Real Way, and my show is High Tech Moda, HITECHMODA.
Guys, take a look. Thank you. Good.
1, 2, 1.